I'm thrilled to be here. Not only am I excited, I feel very honored because I know it's a special Sunday for you. It's a special time. Yeah. So I'm humbled also. I feel humbled to share in that with you. And I think it's not an accident that I'm sharing in this with you because I understand. About 20 years ago, I may not be quite 20 years, maybe 18, 19 years ago, I was in a huge center in Sarasota. It was the Center for Positive Living in Sarasota. And our very beloved minister resigned. And I was a practitioner at the time. I was also in leadership council. And so I was very involved in the healing of the community. Fast forward to just 2 years ago, and I was the one who left the community. I had been the director at the Center for Spiritual Living in Manatee, and I had been there just exactly a year, and I announced to them that I was not going to stay. So I get it. On both sides of the situation, I feel it. But I absolutely believe, as Bobby just sang, I absolutely believe in the silver lining. I believe that old adage. You all have heard that, right? You've heard that every cloud has a silver lining. And that is encouragement for us. It's encouragement for us to face the difficult things that go on in life. And hopefully it gives us optimism that there is a silver lining, that there is a brighter day. And I found this very interesting. I looked up the adage, every cloud has a silver lining. It actually was first in literature in 1634, the idea of a silver cloud being a good thing. And then in Victorian times, the entire proverb came into being, that every cloud has a silver lining. And so we've had a long time to kind of get used to this idea, haven't we? It's been around a long time, but it doesn't make it any easier, does it? It's not easy to do. It's a big challenge for us to see the bright side of things. But what happens for us is that we have a friend that'll show up when we're in those dark times. Friend comes over, opens up the blinds, opens up the window, turns the lights on. I'm going to do that today. I'm your friend. So I'm going to shine the light on some things because I want to remind all of us that there's another way to tell the story. There's always another perspective. There's always another view that we can take where we see that light, that goodness. So I'm here because Reverend Allen is not here. Right? And that may be a shock to some of you. It may be upsetting for some of you. But we're going to open the blinds because there's infinite possibilities available. Absolutely infinite possibilities for you individually, for Suncoast, that I know. That I absolutely know. So I didn't see, is anybody here for the first time? And you really don't know? You didn't know, Alan? Okay. So everybody gets it. Those that are here, you get it. And it doesn't really matter how deep your connection with Reverend Allen is, really, because we can all relate to loss. Everybody has had some kind of loss in their life. So that doesn't really matter. And events happen to us, right? Things happen that we don't choose, or we don't think that we choose. They kind of happen to us. We feel that way. And some of them really, we can argue that, like the death of a loved one, the loss of a job, those kinds of things, you don't choose for that to happen. The economic downturn, violence in our world. I mean, who here is wanting that, right? You feel like you're in charge of that. No, things happen. So what we do have control of is how we respond, the choices that we have in response. We always have that. Now, unlike our ancestors, they maybe didn't have all the choices that we have available to us today. Because you've heard that. They had, fight, flight, or freeze, right? They were maybe a little limited, but we have a fourth one, and that's flourish. We get to flourish. And we can do that. And we do that. You know that we do that. So we're going to look at these growth opportunities that are available to us. My title this morning is Infinite Possibilities. And so I believe that there are infinite possibilities for us, no matter where we are in our lives, for us personally, and I believe that there's infinite possibilities available for Suncoast as well. Yes. So I'm speaking as your friend. And I am a friend to some of you, all of you. So I'm speaking as your friend this morning. As the song Bobby sang, you know, I have felt rock bottom, felt like I had hit rock bottom. The well has been dry. Can you relate to that? Or feeling like you were wrung through the ringer. You kind of relate to that too, right? Might be a cloudy day. Might feel like that today. Yeah. But what we're not going to do today is avoid the big elephant in the library. Right? We're not going to avoid the big elephant in the library. Again, I'm here because Alan's not. So we're not going to avoid it. It brings up sadness, anger, fear, probably some of those things. We're not going to sidestep the feelings. I think I saw some tissues back there. Because what else did the song say? That if we want to find a four-leaf clover, we got to get a little dirt on our hands. And so this might bring up some dirty, icky, ugly feelings. That's okay. They'll pass. That's okay. That's okay. My favorite line in that song. If you want to find a head to fit your shoulder, you got to go to the dance. I love that line. But you know, you have a perfect opportunity to do the dance in spiritual community with one another, right? It's an opportunity to get even closer, to grow in strength with one another. It's an opportunity to do that. And my very favorite thing that I see for you, that I see this as an opportunity, it's an opportunity to prove that this teaching works. Right? It's an opportunity to prove this teaching works. Because this is a science. It's called the science of mind. We get to prove it. And we can prove it. Right? We have this hypothesis that says that our thinking is created. That's our hypothesis that we're working with. And we can change all the little variables around. Thoughts. Change those around, and we change our circumstances. Now, how many of you have done that? Yeah. Yeah. Look at these practitioners in this room. That's right. And if you've done it once, you can what? You can do it again. Because it's a science, and it's repeatable. This is easy, right? This is easy stuff. Well, it's simple stuff. It's not always easy. But the philosophy tells us that there's this power within us that we can use, that can use us anytime we want. And especially when we are faced with something that we don't think we created, when we're faced with an unwanted, unhappy situation, we have this power at our disposal. And we carry it with us all the time. It's right here within us. It's our individual use of mind. So, again, you maybe didn't choose for Alan to leave the community. You didn't choose to create a vacancy in the ministerial department here, right? You may not have chosen for your employer to lay you off at some time. You may not have chosen for a lover to cheat on you. You may have not chosen to have an alcoholic parent. We may not choose those things consciously, then that's a whole nother talk. But I think we can consciously choose how we respond, and as if it's a gift, because I believe it can be. I believe every opportunity that we're faced in our lives can be a gift. We always have that opportunity to flourish. We can fight, flight, or freeze, but we can flourish too. We can choose that. And when we grow personally, when we're at that place where we really grasp that there's this deeper understanding of life, that there's something going on that lifts us, that there's a divine impression within us that is lifting us out of the mire, out of the muck that we find ourselves in. When we're in that place, that's when we are doing what Centers for Spiritual Living agreement is, to create a world that works for everyone. Because when each one of us are able to tap in to the possibilities within us and for us and around us, then we're creating a world that works for everyone. I actually like it, a world where everyone knows how it works. Because the world is working for everyone. We just aren't all awake to that. Right? Yeah. So, that's what Reverend Allen's doing, isn't he? That's what he's doing right now. And that's what we need. We need people in this world that are empowered, that know that they're empowered. We all need that from time to time, to remember that we are empowered to create change in our own lives. So the second slide that I have here is actually a quote from, I think that's the third slide. Sorry. Go back.
Wow, it jumped.
Yeah. There we are. That's the first page of the Science Mind textbook. First page of the, whoops. Now that's the second page.
It's on a timer. It's on a timer.
First page of the Science Mind textbook is the inherent nature of man is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom. See, there's this urge in us that wants to be free. It's planted in us. You know, and it's our birthright. Actually, it's our job to discover it. I mean, what else do we have to do here? Really, it's our job to discover that. It's our job to discover this urge in us that wants to come forth and wants to grow, wants to be free, wants to be expressive. Yeah, we're told of a life so wonderful in its scope, a love beyond our fondest dreams, of a freedom which the soul craves. Doesn't that make you just go, ah? Yeah. A life so wonderful in its scope, a love beyond our fondest dreams, a freedom which the soul craves. That could be our mantra, right? Yeah. So we all want that. We all want that freedom. There's something in us that connects when we hear about that. We go, yes, that's what I want. I want freedom from bondage. What's bondage? What is bondage? Ignorance. But it is. It's ignorance. It's ignorance of this power that we have. It's ignorance of how to use the power. It's actually using it. It's the wrong use of it. It's the wrong use of it. So what sets us free is also what binds us. It's the same power, and it's this. We carry it with us again. You know, it's our minds. It's our minds. So, yeah, we are bound because we are first free. The power which appears to bind is the only power in the universe that can free us. It's the only power that there is. It's the only power that there is. And that's the crux of it, really, the crux of it, is that we're always at this point of choice. We're always creating, and we probably should remember that, because we're always creating, so we want to kind of be aware that that's what we're doing, right? We want to pay attention. So Ernest Holmes says that we're doing the echo. He called it the echo. I love that. That we're echoing what the universe does. That we live and move in this creative, intelligent universe, always creating out of itself, always making things new, and we do that in our own lives. We echo it. We echo the same creative process in our own lives. That's pretty powerful, isn't it? Just to think about that? Yeah. So we create by the choices. And from that urge, if we're listening, like Randy advised us to be silent, if we listen to that urge, we create from that place. It's really something. All my quotes today are from the Science Mind textbook because I find it just so rich and just the absolute thing to go to in a time like this. It's just the thing to go to. So here you go. We can't help it. We can't help it. We're creating all the time. We can't live a choiceless life. We really don't have a choice in that. We're always choosing. We're always choosing. So every day, every moment, every second, there's a choice that we're making. And here's a big one. We have the right to choose what we wish to experience. Reverend Allen, too, by the way. Yeah. So we do wish him well. Yeah. So I'm teaching the Ernest Holmes, the Essential Ernest Holmes in Sarasota right now, and there's a exercise that we did last week. We took a piece of paper, folded it in 3, and on the left side, you put your decades of your life in 10, so decades, obviously. So it's 0 to 10, 11 to 20, and so forth, right? And in the middle column, you put choices that you made in those decades. And on the far right, you put choices that you did not make. Did I say I was teaching the class? Yeah. So I noticed that on the right side, I had all these things I didn't do. Like I didn't go to Mercer University on a free ride scholarship from high school. I didn't do that. So I put it over there in the choices not made. Oh, wait a minute. Wasn't that a choice I made? Yeah. Not to go? So let's be careful when we say, you know, the choices that we make, because we make everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. You choose not to do something, you just made a choice. We can't live a choiceless life. Not possible. It's just not possible for us. And I contend that still, all the time, no matter what's going on, we're free to choose, and we're free to choose God's attributes, like they're ours because they are, you know, so joy, love, peace, abundance, health, wholeness. We can choose those too at any time, no matter what's going on. It's like we've already received the RSVP, all we have to do is respond. It's really, that's our job. And here's a big piece of that, because there isn't anything that opposes us. There isn't another, there's never another. There's not two, there's only one power in the universe. We talk about that all the time. And so the only thing that stands in our way is what? Ourselves. That's kind of hard to take sometimes, doggone it, you know? But it is true. And I can look back over my life, and I'm sure you can do the same thing, and you recognize that you were the only one standing in your way. You're the one, oh wait, you maybe went to Mercer. I'm the one who chose not to go to Mercer because I was afraid of a large university. Full ride. So at 50, I completed my college education, and now I'm doing my master's program. Yeah, but that was my choice. So I ask you, you know, when we look at that we're the only ones that stand in the way, that when we feel like we're bound, when we feel like we're limited, it's not like limitation is a thing that's standing in front of us, right? It's not a thing, it's not an entity, it's our limited thoughts. It's just that, it's just our limited thoughts. So what's it gonna be? What do we pick? Are you gonna pick the dark, cloudy day, or are we gonna pick the silver lining with infinite possibilities? That's what we want, right? That's what we want. That's what we all want. We all want that freedom. We all have this urge to express. That's what we want. So how do we do it? I believe, my own personal philosophy, is that we have to check in with our feelings first. That we are not going to be creating from our highest and best if we're not aware of what we're feeling. So again, that's the elephant. That's what we want to look at. Feelings are the fuel to those creative thoughts that we have. Our feelings are the fuel behind it. They're the fuel behind our behaviors. So, a thought plus a feeling equals the demonstration. Thought plus a feeling equals the manifestation. Thought plus feeling equals what we're getting, right? So the thought plus the feeling, that feeling piece is really super important, so we don't want to sidestep it. So I'm going to ask you right now, you don't have to blurt it out, but I'm going to ask you to check in with how you're feeling about the fact that Alan's not here this morning, Kevin's not here this morning. Just check in. Just check in with your feelings. I'm going to ask you to do that this week. Check in with your feelings. Check in with your feelings. And it may not be the situation here at Suncoast. Maybe there's something up for you personally. Check in with your feeling around that. How do you feel? If it's one of those situations that you feel like you did not create, you possibly have a feeling of being a victim. That's not a very empowering place to be, is it? When you feel like you're a victim. It's not very empowering. But let me tell you, taking responsibility for your feelings is very empowering because they're yours. They're yours. Nobody else put them there. They're yours. You get to do with them what you want. That's very empowering. So my beloved minister that left CPL, some 18, 19, 20 years ago, used to say, everything in your life you either create, promote, allow, or step in. Say it again. Everything in your life you either create, promote, allow, or step in. Right. So he's also the one who said thought plus a feeling equals a demonstration. And that was 18, 20 years ago. See, there's things that Reverend Allen has said to you that are in you. And they will always be in you. You get to decide what you do with these things, right? So what are you going to do? Again, I recommend getting quiet, like Randy said. Get quiet, listen. I would be remiss if I did not bring up Kubler-Ross's work with grief, around grief, and the 5 stages, right? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, round and round, back and forth, up and down, over, under. You might do that. You might do that, and that's okay, right? They're your feelings. On them. You might have sadness, you might have fear. I don't know, you might have some abandonment issues, some daddy issues show up. That would be me. Honor it. Dialogue with it. Understand it. Here's a tip, and if you want to talk to me after the service about this, I love to journal as a dialogue. Ask yourself, how am I feeling? I'm pissed off. Ooh, can I say that? I'm angry. Ask yourself, well, where's that coming from? And just keep writing, It's a great exercise to do. But it's only when you understand your feelings, when you know your feelings, when you're in touch with your feelings, it's only then that you can accept where you are. That you can accept what is, and then you can say, but here's what I want. Here's what I want instead. And then create from that place. Again, can't sidestep the feeling because it's the thought plus the feeling equals the demonstration. So you can't miss this part because it's part of the demonstration. So if you're not paying attention, it's still demonstrating. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it's important stuff. I think we should have our own gesture. What do you think? Thought plus the feeling. When we see each other, we can kind of remind each other of this. How to do this thing with each other. Maybe I'll start that. So along with this power of choice, we're responsible for our feelings. Oh, and look, we're liable for what we demonstrate. Oh, there must be not only the possibility of choice, but the liability of experiencing that which is chosen. So I don't have to say it again, right? The feeling is important because we're going to demonstrate from that level, so we want to understand it so we can get familiar with it and change it then when we're ready to change it, right? So in Science Mind tells us that we don't deny the facts, that we don't deny the circumstances, we don't deny what's going on. If you have 0 in your bank account, you should not be writing checks, right? We don't deny it, but that doesn't mean we're not one with the abundance of nature. So Suncoast has a vacancy in our hearts at the pulpit. That's a fact. That's a fact. A personal fact might be what I just said, that there's no money in the bank account. That might be a fact. But that's not truth. There's a great difference between fact and truth. So the truth is that Suncoast is a divine idea in the mind of God. That the entire universe is conspiring for its good, for its growth, for its light to shine forth in Tampa Bay. Right? That is truth. That is truth. Just like each person here is a divine incarnation of the one spirit, the one creative intelligence. Wow. It has this thing inside them that wants to come out and express fully, and that everything you need in order for that expression to come out is already gifted, is already given. That's truth. Different from fact. So, there's one infinite principle. There it is. There's one infinite principle, one infinite thought stuff, one infinite creative power, but countless numbers of forms which change as the specific idea behind them changes. So you're at a place of choice, knowing what you feel, then you can know what you want by changing those ideas, right? Ah, it's such a perfect system we live in. So, what's the next specific idea for you to demonstrate? Because nothing opposes you, nothing opposes good, nothing opposes Suncoast's health and vitality in this community, nothing opposes it. So Reverend Susie, Reverend Dr. Susie, I did check with her how you say that. It is Reverend Dr. Susie Shadle will be here next week to begin that process with you. And you know, you're so fortunate because you already have a relationship with her, you already love her, right? And this is what she does. She's good at this. So you have such a great journey ahead of you, such a wonderful thing. So there's infinite possibilities that await for all of us. And the one thing that I would love for you to take away this morning is that take time with your feelings. Take time with your feelings. Don't push them away. Get to know them. Be friendly with them. Because a thought plus a feeling equals the demonstration. And you are empowered by your choices then. So thank you so much for letting me be here with you this morning.